in our series about AWS. In this video, AWS bills are too high, what to do? Okay, so let's first of all understand where we at with our AWS series. So first of all, we had an overview of the AWS and the cloud hosting architecture. Then in the second video, I demonstrated the AWS cost calculator, which is freely available on my blog. It gave us an estimation to understand if our AWS cost is high or low or sensible or it's not sensible. Usually it's not sensible, unfortunately. Then we discussed the whole issue of scalability in AWS and cloud architecture. And now we're going to speak about what am I going to do if I get AWS bills which are too high. And this is, as I said, it's very, very common. Actually, I don't know even on one startup in Sydney, and I know about one actually, which has sensible AWS costs, which makes sense. But all the others which I'm in touch with are just getting too high bills, spending too much on AWS. So you're getting high bills. What to do now? Okay. So the first thing that needs to be done, and usually it's not so successful, and I'll explain in a minute why, is to review the account. Okay. So AWS, when you enter the account, you get immediately an overview of the costing, which allows you basically to see what are you spending money on. Okay, you can see here, for example, this is a company which I'm reviewing just now. You can see EC2 instances. You can see relational database instance or several instances. We don't know yet, but we know that we have an RDS relational database. And we also see Kubernetes. Now, this already telling me that something is wrong here, okay? Even before I clicked next to see what's going on inside. Because as you can see, the Kubernetes cost is higher than the EC2 cost, or similar, whatever the EC2 instances and EC2 others, so sort of the same magnitude. I would expect if someone is using Kubernetes, that Kubernetes will be like 10 times less than the EC2 instances, because Kubernetes is orchestrating a lot of servers. And if I'm using Kubernetes, I expect that the server's cost will be really, really so high that I will actually need Kubernetes. Okay, so something is already wrong here. So what you want to do is basically to review the account. And the next thing, which is difficult to do, and I will explain why, but you do want to remove all the unwanted services. Now, removing the unwanted services has two values, or two value propositions. The first one, that you're tidying up your account. You don't want, from a lot of reasons, I will discuss it in the next video, you don't want to have too many services on your AWS account or any other cloud service account. And there are lots of reasons. First of all, security. When I'm saying removing unwanted services, it's including security roles, accounts, logins. Just remove all what you've seen is not used. Okay? Remove unused DNS records, and of course turn off unused servers. If you have EC2 servers which are unused, or S3 buckets which are unused, remove them. Okay? We're paying money for that. You will be surprised to find out how many unwanted services DevOps tend to collect in your AWS account. In one company here in Sydney, which actually it was the first one which I reviewed their AWS account, I removed 90% of the services. I reduced the cost immediately, bang, just like that. Okay, just by deleting all sorts of legacy servers. Okay. If you remember when we discussed the AWS overview, I mentioned that one of the value propositions of AWS that it's disconnecting between the business and the tech guys. So the tech guys are not the ones which are paying the bill. The business is paying the bill. The tech guys collect the dust, okay, which is quite smart business plan from AWS point of view. But from your company, company's interest. It's really, really bad. So remove all the unwanted services. Next thing that you need to do is to take all your isolated services and move out from AWS. Just I'm quite straightforward here, okay? So if you have any isolated services like a website, an API which is isolated and has its own database or whatever, move out from AWS. Okay, if it's not something that needs to be scaled, if it's like an admin site or your Kanban board or your CRM system, just move out. Take a server at $10 a month server on Vultr and move out. This will save you a lot of money because AWS are overbilling for basic services. This is a fact. So AWS, as we discussed in the first video, the value proposition, one of the value propositions of AWS, that they managing those services. But if you have a CTO or a tech lead, you don't need AWS to manage your website server. If that one has, if you have less than 10,000 users a day, not a month, on your web server, you can host it on a 4 GB Vultr server for $10 a month. Okay, so just do it. Why are you on AWS paying $200 a month or $300 a month? And why you have 5 of them? Okay? And the last but not least, after you have done all this, without even looking at your architecture, like I just showed you with that company, I can assure you 99.9% that you can improve your architecture. Why I'm so confident? I'm so confident, first of all, because I have a lot of experience. Second, I saw a lot of really bad architectures around. Third, I know that even if you have a good architecture, it needs to be revised once in a while. Okay? So the chance that your architecture is so good that you don't need to redo it is very, very low. So, and once you do it, while you do it, you can save a lot of money by simplifying your architecture. This matter of simplifying your architecture will be our discussion in one of the next videos. See you.